So based on episode 1 that you can find here, you're now aware of all the rules that might apply to your land. And so let's assume that that's it. You've done the research and you're now allowed to build. So now is the time to think about utilities, which includes your sewer, your water, and your electricity. So sewer first. So if you're connected to a main sewer, water sewer type thing, you might be able to simply tap into it, run a line, and just be done with it. So once again, this is something specific to every situation, and you will have to contact the appropriate people to confirm. In my case here, there's no sewer. The house is on a septic system, and so I had two options. You can expand the existing house septic system, but keep in mind that if your existing septic is old, which is my case, you might be better off doing a separate system rather than messing with the old one, which will have to be brought up to code. For this reason, I decided that it would be best to just do a separate system, so hoping that you also have the room for it. And anyway, that requires a permit, a septic permit. We'll actually discuss all this in the next episode, where I will go over getting my septic permit and showing you the install and all that. I have a lot more footage about this. So now let's talk about the water. So if you have city water, you might be able to just simply tap into your main water line and just run it to the cabin, and you're done. In my case, I'm on a well, so you'll have to see what can be done. You might be able to connect to your existing, the water coming from the well to your house, or you might have to get a new well. So this again will be part of your septic permit, and the county will kind of help you determine what needs to be done. They will also show you exactly where the water line will have to run from the house to the cabin, because it has to be away from any septic system, set back from the plot or anything, the piece of land. So electric should be pretty simple. You will connect to your house, and we'll have a sub panel that will be installed in the cabin that will be connected to your main panel. So the only question you have to ask yourself is to know if your existing service panel has enough power, extra power, to handle a cabin, meaning that your service might already be maxed out. For instance, this house, which is from the 70s, only had a 100 amp service panel, which I had to upgrade to 200 amp. So this is something that I really, got a licensed electrician to do, and they can do easily, because I didn't really feel like dealing with those, big live wire coming from, from the service panel. So the next thing is to find out what kind of permit will you have to pull. So do you need to be a licensed contractor, or will your county have some sort of exemption for homeowner building on their own land? Once again, the best way to find out is to really call your local permitting office and ask them. Ask them all those questions. For example, here is the very specific rule here in this county. If the construction is below $30,000, you don't need a contractor's license. If it is more than $30,000, they have an exemption program that allows homeowner to build on their own land. So you will also need to find out what will the county require when pulling the construction permit. So they will usually provide you with a checklist on their website, such as this is the one here, to really help you out knowing what you need to provide. So you'll most likely need to provide a set of drawings, which might or might not need to be signed by an engineer. So I already have my set of drawings that I've worked on myself, you can see here. And so this will really depend on the local building codes, and will be vastly different from county to county, from state to state. So again, your best bet is to talk directly with the permitting office. So now you're kind of trying to think through it, and you want to know, well, what size really should this cabin be? Well, that will kind of depend on the use of your cabin. In my case, I know that I'm trying to look for something as efficient as possible, which is why I went with an efficiency type floor plan, which I'm showing you here, that you've probably seen in another video, because I'm targeting really, I want my family to be able to stay there, but I'm also targeting couples and friends that want to rent out that place for a few days. I'm not really after large families with a lot of kids. Those people will go and rent, full houses. So really, this definitely depends on the use that you're going to be using that cabin for. So at this point, now that you really kind of know if you're going to be able to build or not, what you're going to be using it for, if you're going to use it for short-term rental or something else, you can start doing some market research. Well, in my case, if it's a short-term rental, I want to know, what the future competition is doing. So in my case, I did a local search on Airbnb or VRBO and see what people charge for a similar space. And in my case, I think I'll probably charge, I don't know, like maybe $60 to $80 a night. And so I will not be competing with, full-on houses, because those usually rent for like 150 to 500 a night for really, really big houses. So I looked at my competition in this price range, and it's mostly apartments that really don't have anything special. I mean, they really just look like your average apartment that you would find in any city in the US. So versus me, I'll really go for like a cabin with a really, mountain look with woods everywhere. So I think this will really play in my favor. So really that's like the moments when you really want to check what will be your advantage compared to your competition. So there you have it. Please make sure to check the next episode here, where I'm really going deep down into the septic permit and the septic installation, really showing you how everything went and everything that I've learned along the way.